Hello everyone and welcome to Portugal for the Portuguese Grand Prix and round 2 of the 2021 Formula 1 season here in the Alternative Apex series. If you missed round 1 of the season, which was uploaded yesterday in Bahrain, I highly recommend you go and watch that one before this one so that you don't get anything spoiled for you. Here is the Portimao circuit. It's got 2 DRS zones and plenty of overtaking opportunities around the lap. This track has only recently joined the Formula 1 calendar during the COVID-19 pandemic. However, it is proven to be very deserving of a slot on the calendar. It has seen some great battles for victories around this circuit, and I'm sure today will be no different. As you can see, the drivers are on the grid now, ready to take to this circuit, a track that has a relatively long run down into the first corner, a relatively high speed turn 1. That could lead to perhaps some surprises off the line. Maybe someone on that second row of the grid could get the jump on the leaders and make a move into that first corner. But if the leaders get away cleanly, that's going to be tough to do, as that high speed turn 1 doesn't suit a dive bomb, at least not a sensible one that you can do without taking any risk. Drivers now just getting ready to start this race. You can see some of them in their cars, some of them still by the side of them. But after the Bahrain Grand Prix that Max Verstappen won ahead of Lewis Hamilton and then Sergio Perez, it'll be very important for Mercedes to fight back here. As you can see, the grid for the Portuguese Grand Prix has Valtteri Bottas on pole position after an incredibly close qualifying session alongside Lewis Hamilton. Then it's Verstappen and Perez on the second row. Leclerc, Norris, Ferrari and McLaren dueling it out for best of the rest. Then it's Ricciardo, Sainz, Stroll and Gasly finish out the top 10 positions. Then it's Tsunoda and Alonso, first couple of drivers outside the top 10. Then it's Vettel and Ocon. Pato O'Ward alongside Kimi Raikkonen there. Chevrolet not going quite as well around this circuit. Giovinazzi, Russell, followed up by Schwartzman in the second of the Chevrolet cars. Then it is Schumacher, Latifi, and rounding out the final spot on the grid is Nikita Mazepin. Now it is time for the Portuguese Grand Prix, so here we are on the grid. All the lights are now on, and we are racing in Portugal. Who can get the best of start? That's a great start there for Max Verstappen from the second row, from third position on the grid. He's going to get into the lead, going to turn 1, the free wide into turn 1. That is Lewis Hamilton having to back out there. Still will to lead. Bottas versus Verstappen. Verstappen is going to take the lead of the Portuguese Grand Prix, followed by Valtteri Bottas. It is Leclerc and Hamilton side by side battling it out for third position here. Hamilton looks like he's came out on top there. That's Sergio Perez starting fourth. He's dropping down the order a little bit here. He's battling with Lando Norris. He's squeezing Lando Norris all the way to the inside there. Norris having to send it late on the brakes, going up the inside there of Leclerc as well. I don't know if that was a deliberate move or he just outbroke himself trying to battle with Perez. Perez still side by side with Lando Norris here. This is crucial that Perez gets past, but he doesn't manage it. He's stuck behind Lando Norris now. We saw in Bahrain that it is hard to get past the McLaren because it's got a very good top speed. Perez now really in a tough situation, starting down in 6th position, but Max Verstappen gets to the dream start to the Portuguese Grand Prix and leads the field through lap 1 of this race. Now, this is Fernando Alonso on lap 4. Looks like he might have an issue when he hits the inside curb of turn 1 very hard, and that's a slowing Alpine. Alonso looks like he's retiring from this race very early on, similar to Vettel in Bahrain. Alonso, another veteran, out early in this Grand Prix. Here we have the two Mercedes. Hamilton on the back of Bottas here for second place. Hamilton appears to have a little bit better pace and realistically is Mercedes' best chance for the championship this season against Max Verstappen, but at the moment he is stuck behind his teammate. Charles Leclerc will be the first of the drivers to pit in here on the soft compound tyres. Not looking like he quite has the tyre wear at the moment, only at the end of lap 9. So maybe it'll be tough to make a one-stop work from here. Let's see what tyres the Ferrari driver goes on to. It is going to be another set of soft tyres by the looks of things. So that is a definite 2-stop there for Charles Leclerc. He'll be looking to perhaps go and get that, perhaps a little bit of an undercut on those in the top 3, but he was quite a way back, so probably not going to happen. Lando Norris here is coming in a lap later, perhaps trying the overcut over Charles Leclerc, see if that will work at this circuit. Leclerc may have come out in a bit of traffic. It looks like he has come out in a bit of traffic in this race, and Norris here could well perform the overcut, but they're getting held up by Carlos Sainz, who has also pitted on this lap. Another driver appears to be doing the 2-stop strategy. Lando Norris now coming out of the pit lane. Will he successfully overcut Charles Leclerc, or is Leclerc going to come out ahead? It looks pretty good for Lando Norris, or is it that Charles Leclerc coming around the corner now and Charles Leclerc sweeps her all the way around the outside of turn 1? That was a close one, but good timing there from Charles Leclerc to get that move done into turn 1 of the race. Meanwhile, looks like the battle here for 7th position here. It's Yuki Tsunoda wheel to wheel with Pato O'Ward as they're going to go 3 wide there. The Aston Martin's been attacked from both sides going into the hairpin. Looks like both of those 2 cars behind him battling away. Both of us accidentally broke too late up his inside. Now as Yuki Tsunoda accidentally looks like he's going for the move on Lance Stroll, is he going to be able to pull this one off on the medium tyres? Perhaps those softs are dying a bit now on the Aston Martin car. But as Yuki Tsunoda up into 6th position in this race on the medium compound tyres, Tsunoda running very well so far in this Grand Prix and is up another position. Meanwhile, this is your race leader, Max Verstappen. He is coming to the pits now on lap 11. Now, will he go to the hard tyres here? If he does, then he can do the 1-stop. If he goes to soft, he's going to commit to a 2-stop. Let's wait and see what Red Bull does. I believe in the background there, it's also Valtteri Bottas pitting. So Bottas pitting a lap before Hamilton here. So this time, it seems the overcut was working better for Lando Norris. So perhaps Mercedes are trying to get Hamilton ahead through the pit stops by pitting Bottas first in this race. But where's Verstappen to come out as well here? Because the traffic, we saw it was an issue for Leclerc. Will Verstappen come out clear of traffic? It looks like he is. That is the Aston Martin of Sebastian Vettel there. And Max Verstappen is clear of him. He just needs to get his tyres up to temperature. And it looks like he has managed to. Now here's a battle between Charles Leclerc and George Russell. We saw earlier in the race Leclerc getting caught in traffic. Looks like he's again caught in traffic here. But he's got Lando Norris trying to get a double slipstream down the straight into Tillman. He's going to go up the inside of Charles Leclerc. These two are legitimately fighting out for best of the rest in this race. Norris on the inside of Charles Leclerc. Can Charles Leclerc hold on to this position? Norris has been pressuring Leclerc a lot in this race. He briefly got ahead of the Ferrari driver, but looks like the Ferrari driver managed to fight back. Oh no, sorry, he got ahead into turn 1, then lost position again. So it's Norris. Can he make the move work on Charles Leclerc? Doesn't look like it. These two close on paces. They're still wheel to wheel going into the second sector of the lap. Going to go all the way around that side? Surely not. Charles Leclerc can't pull that one off. Or can he? He's going to go for it. All the way around the outside. Look at that run over the hill. Look at that. It's like a roller coaster through this part of the track. Still wheel to wheel here in Portugal. This is a fantastic track for racing. And it looks as though Lando Norris has managed to get ahead of the Ferrari driver and will finally have some clean air in this race. Now Lewis Hamilton. He's tried the overcut here on his teammate and on Max Verstappen. He comes into the pit lane now. Will this work? Verstappen, of course, came out in clear air, so I imagine Verstappen should be safe. But Bottas looks like he has come out in that midfield scrap, which could well cost him some time here. The question is, that wasn't the best of pit stops there for Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton. Let's see, can Lewis Hamilton jump his teammate here? This is going to be a tough ask to do, but Bottas in that traffic is going to be helping Hamilton out. But as he trundles down the pit lane, coming past on the main track, that is Max Verstappen. Now look back, where is Valtteri Bottas? Down into turn 1, that is Yuki Tsunoda going to go around the outside of Lewis Hamilton. That is also Pato O'Ward going around the outside, or is it? Looks like he may have got a little bit too wide there, avoiding the Mercedes car. But Hamilton is out ahead of Valtteri Bottas there, as you see Bottas in the background, getting past the Alpine of Esteban Ocon. So it's a good overcut there for Lewis Hamilton. And this is a lap later, by the looks of things. Sergio Perez has pitted and was had a little bit of contact with the Alfa Romeo of Antonio Giovinazzi on his exit of the pit lane. Perez not looking up to speed quite there yet. Are those the hard tyres hurting him, or has he perhaps picked up a little bit of damage from that side-to-side contact with the Alfa Romeo car? He is being pressured here by Lando Norris. Lando Norris not looking for a move just yet, but those soft tyres on the McLaren looking quite good here. But Perez doesn't visibly have any damage to that front wing. Let's see, will he pit at the end of this lap? And he will. Sergio Perez is pulling into the pit, so he picked up some damage there. And that is his race, or at least his race for a podium, pretty much off now. As Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris are once again in this race, going to go side by side into turn 1. Which one of them come out on top on this time? Norris cruising around the outside. Has he managed to hold this one off? Yes, Norris will stay ahead on this occasion, but so far not being able to pull away from Charles Leclerc, who he passed just a lap or two ago. Now, this looks like the first of the medium runners coming to the pits. That is Yuki Tsunoda on the medium compound tyres, followed in by the Chevrolet of Pato O'Ward. These two teams both start on the medium tyres, so looking to make a more comfortable one-stop work here that could help them towards the end of both stints. Of course, on the midfield guys doing a two-stop, as we've seen Leclerc and Norris doing, so perhaps these guys could get in the mix with those drivers. This is Sergio Perez now. After that wing damage, he's now on the back of Antonio Giovinazzi once again. These two, of course, pitted together due to Perez's wing damage, and Perez cruises past here on the Alfa Romeo. So that Red Bull has got some good pace, but down in 15th position, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to do much with it at this stage of the race, which is unfortunate there for the driver who got a podium in round 1 of the season. But at the moment, not looking too great. Is behind him on the road. That is Pato O'Ward behind Yuki Tsunoda. He's got DRS open. Can Pato O'Ward throw a move here in the Chevrolet? Pato O'Ward was the star of Bahrain on his debut in Formula 1. Now Portimao not looking quite as rapid here, but he is racing hard with Yuki Tsunoda. That aggression is still very much there. Up the inside of Yuki Tsunoda and pushing him onto the curb there. Can Tsunoda fight this one back? Not looking like it. Tsunoda not quite having the grip at the moment, as this is Charles Leclerc, and he's coming in for his second pit stop of the race. Charles Leclerc now. Let's see where he'll come out. These guys are going to have to clear a lot of traffic here of those that are doing the one-stoppers, of course, including Pato O'Ward and Yuki Tsunoda. Charles Leclerc now boxing now, and he'll have to go to medium tyres here for the final stint. Of course, he's used softs in both of the first two stints. A bit of a slow pit stop, and that's because Pierre Gasly was pitting ahead of him, so that's a really slow pit stop there. That will cost Leclerc even more time to Lando Norris. So this undercut attempt on Lando Norris isn't looking very successful so far, unless he comes out in clear air, which isn't looking likely as you see this train of cars powering past all these guys on a one-stop strategy. That is Charles Leclerc just ahead of Esteban Ocon. So it's a decent spot of track compared to what he could have ended up in there. Just a small gap, but that's not going to be a gap that lasts very long whilst he's on those medium tyres. Now, a lap later, Lando Norris is coming into the pit lane. Let's see if he can hold on to this position from Charles Leclerc. Those two battling all race long. Norris also going, of course, to the medium compound of tyres. Let's see where he will come out. The overcut has been strong all day long. This time it's sort of it's an overcut, but he was ahead already, so he should be looking to hold on to that position because it's unlikely he'll have a chance at the Mercedes or Red Bulls, as you can see. Lando Norris coming out of the pits now, and he looks pretty safely into 5th position. Sebastian Vettel is the car behind. Charles Leclerc's way back, battling with Pato O'Ward here for the 8th position. O'Ward on the 1-stop, Leclerc on the 2-stop here. Leclerc's going to have much more grip than the Chevrolet, and that Ferrari gets up into 8th position, and its next car in its sights is Yuki Tsunoda, who we now see him getting a run on now. DRS is open. Can he make this move work? He's got to make this move quickly if he wants to have any chance of getting back at Lando Norris. He's going to go up the inside of turn 1. We've seen him battle Norris plenty of times through here, so I'm sure he's got lots of experience here through this complex of corners. But I think just up the road of them, that is Carlos Sainz who has jumped Charles Leclerc here. So Leclerc's really struggling in this traffic because that's Sergio Perez not much further back, as Perez starting to pick up some ground. He's now in 10th position on this recovery drive. As we see the Chevrolet Pato O'Ward having a look at the back of the AlphaTauri Astana, but not going for it here. Now Perez, he's going to pit again, so this has now become a free-stop strategy for Sergio Perez. Going to softs after that wing damage was not the way to go, because he's now going to have to make another pit stop, which will once again drop him behind a lot of the drivers that he just should not be racing here. So, whilst Lewis Hamilton has wingman of Valtteri Bottas up front, Max Verstappen currently all alone out front, but so far that has not impeded him that much as Perez now racing the Williams cars. Now on board with Daniel Ricciardo, going to go all the way around the outside of Pato O'Ward there in the Chevrolet. Ricciardo on the 2-stop like a few other drivers, including his teammate and the Ferraris. Ricciardo not having quite as strong of a race here, but getting up into 9th position there with a very strong move around the outside of Patricio O'Ward. Pierre Gasly now in the slipstream of Esteban Ocon. I believe Pierre Gasly might be another driver on the 2-stop strategy. Yes, he is. And he's going to cruise past Esteban Ocon here. Nice move by the Frenchman on the other Frenchman. Oh, and around goes Ocon. And around goes Ocon. It's nightmare for Alpine as around goes Esteban Ocon from just outside of the points there. That is heartbreak for the Alpine drivers. We see, let's see, will everyone avoid him? He's put in a very dangerous position there. Let's see, can he keep that car going? Or, like Gasly in round 1, will he have issues getting that car going in? He's got cars battling here, and that's another close call there. Cars battling through turns 1 and 2. And that is a very close call there for the Alpine driver of Esteban Ocon, as that is the safety car leaving the pit lane, and rightly so, with Esteban Ocon looking to be beached on that curb. Esteban Ocon is out of this race, and meanwhile, that's a slow Ferrari. That's Carlos Sainz going slowly, coming up the hill here. After performing the undercut on his teammate, he now finds himself out of this race with an engine issue, and the safety car has been deployed here due to, of course, Ocon's spin and then Sainz having an engine failure. It's getting a bit dramatic late in this race after a fairly quiet start. It's all getting quite dramatic late on, as Max Verstappen, though, whilst he's not lost too much time here, he's got the Haas car of Nikita Mazepin, I believe, who was a lap down between himself and Hamilton, which will be like a little bodyguard for him on this restart, prevent Hamilton getting a run. But now we see Max Verstappen preparing to restart this race. He's coming up the hill and he's back up to racing speed. Max Verstappen leads this field back to green here for the final 4 laps of this race. Lewis Hamilton having to get past Nikita Mazepin and Mazepin getting out the way of everyone nicely in the background. But Hamilton and Bottas there, not close enough to make any moves on Max Verstappen as the field charges through the first 2 corners here. But it's all looking fairly status quo, or is it? As that is O'Ward and Ricciardo once again battling, these two going at it earlier in those. So that good move from Ricciardo earlier on, but O'Ward trying to get one back here. O'Ward on this hard tyre, so he's not going to have much grip here. And is that's Pierre Gasly getting involved here. And what a move, Pierre Gasly. Up the inside of 2 cars into the hairpin. Great move by the AlphaTauri driver. Can he keep hold of those positions? It looks like he can, because O'Ward and Ricciardo are still side by side. Seen lots of battling through this part of the lap, and the side of the track you want to be on alternates through each of these corners, so it's really allowing cars to stay side by side for a long time, whereas these two still will to will. Where Ricciardo made the move last time on O'Ward, it looks like he may make the same move again. Not quite as easily this time, but no, O'Ward's going to keep his nose in. Try and hold this one out. He's going to stick it up the inside. That's a close one through that corner. Can O'Ward stay in there? He's still in there on the inside, and O'Ward manages to hold on there as that Stroll now having a look at Ricciardo in the background, but O'Ward, a nice move there, although he gained the position on Ricciardo. They did both lose the position to Pierre Gasly, who made that lovely move on the pair of them. Ricciardo now back in the slipstream of O'Ward. Ricciardo on those softer tyres, the medium compound compared to the hard compound, and that McLaren being inherently quicker than the Chevrolet, making his move down towards turn 1, and back up into 9th position goes Daniel Ricciardo, demoting O'Ward down to 10th place now. And O'Ward, I'm sure, will have to look in his mirrors here, because that McLaren just looks a bit too quick for him to keep up with at this stage of the race. But with only 3 laps left in it, it's looking like Max Verstappen up ahead in the lead of this Grand Prix. Looks like he has it as now we cut to the final lap of the race. Max Verstappen dominates this race. It was both races he has not started on pole, but both races he has won. Great drive by Max Verstappen to win the Portuguese Grand Prix, ahead of the Mercedes duo of Lewis Hamilton, who again finishes 2nd, and Valtteri Bottas in 3rd, just ahead of Lando Norris, who wins best of the rest, and Charles Leclerc in 5th. Rightly so, the Red Bull team are celebrating that one. Great drive from Max Verstappen. He took the lead early on and never looked back there, even with the safety car. His win was never in doubt, as he managed to pull that lead back up towards the end of the race. And a great drive from the Dutchman to get his 2nd win of the 2nd win in a row. So he's definitely putting himself in the favourite position for the championship this season. But in terms of the constructors, I'm sure it'll be very close. As last race it was a double podium for Red Bull, this race it's a double podium for Mercedes. But Verstappen getting 2 wins in a row. Great start to the season, the perfect start to the season for the Dutchman, as he looks to take his first ever Formula 1 World Championship here. And Lewis Hamilton at the moment having to sort of sit by and watch as Max Verstappen dominates the first 2 rounds of the season. And here are your full race results here. Outside the top 5, it was Sebastian Vettel in 6th position, ahead of Yuki Tsunoda, getting more points for AlphaTauri, ahead of Pierre Gasly. Daniel Ricciardo gets 9th place. O'Ward in his rookie season gets his 2nd points finish of the season. Not quite as good as round 1, but a 10th place finish, I'm sure, is not too disappointing for that team. Here you see the Drivers' Championship. Max Verstappen with a 13-point championship lead over Lewis Hamilton. It's a decent lead there for the Dutchman going into round 3 of the season, but by no means is Hamilton out of this one. In the Constructors, it's even closer, with a 1-point gap between Red Bull and Mercedes there, despite Perez's, well, quite awful day here in Portugal. It is still very close in the championship. So that was round 2 of the season in Portugal completed. Next time it is Spain. It'll be crucial that Lewis Hamilton tries to claw back some points on Max Verstappen. Otherwise this championship may be starting to look a bit like it's one man's to lose. However, at the moment it is still very close, so make sure not to miss the next round of the Alternative Apex series in the 2021 Formula 1 season. I'll see you there.